Our speaker this morning is Laurel Brody. Laurel prefers that we not provide a formal introduction. So I will simply take a moment of personal privilege to say that Laurel is a fierce intellectual, a woman personally committed to social justice, a great cook, and a devoted and loyal friend. Her topic is A Christmas Miracle. Laurel.
Before I start being here today, I just want to tell you how lucky I am to have found this shul and what special people you are. And I'm just lucky to see friends here and to have made friends here. Having said that, now you have to have my back, right? I always have a point, and I will have a point this morning, but more often than not, I take a circuitous route to get there, and I don't think this morning's going to be that different. So buckle up. Many of you know I moved here from Arizona. I lived there for 30 years. And about 6 years after I got here, one of my daughters stayed there. She chose to stay, and she's my youngest. Her name is Jody. The phone rang, and she was hysterical and very afraid. They had called her, and diagnosed her with multiple sclerosis. She didn't know what it was. She was petrified. And so, of course, I went out there. And when I came home, I knew what I had to do. And so I bought a condo within a mile of her. I didn't know if I could afford it. I didn't know anything, but I just did it. Because I knew, or I thought, I'd have to go take care of her now and then. But here's the spoiler alert. She's just fine, and she takes care of me. So this is now 11 or 12 years later. And the phone rang again. Hi, Ma. Well, I know when it's hi, Ma, I'm in trouble. I said, hey, Joey, what's cooking? I got the job offer of my dreams. Oh my gosh, that's terrific. Tell me about it. I want to hear about it. Ma, Steve, that's her husband, Steve and I are moving to Cornville. Cornville? No, I lived in Arizona for 30 years. I had never heard of Cornville. Didn't know where it was. I've since been there. It's tumbleweed country. When I tell you there's not a CVS, there's not a supermarket, and have mercy, there's not even a Costco. How does one survive? But they're very happy. And it was obvious that the time had come, since Cornville is 2 hours outside of Phoenix, it was time to divest myself of the condo. It was not going to be of any service anymore. So I used my pre-planned ticket as I had planned to go out there, as usual. I got out there on Monday. The condo was on the market by the end of business day, and Wednesday morning I had a contract in hand. And I had to get out, and my head was spinning. How do you do that? It was a I had a sectional sofa and a wall unit and a dining room table and bedroom furniture. How do you do that? So I called Habitat for Humanity, Forgive Me Habitat, and a couple other places. Do you know they charge you? They charge you to come pick up stuff, beginning at $180. I said, that's incongruous. I'm trying to divest myself. I'm trying to donate, and I'm going to be charged for it? What's the answer? Facebook Marketplace. And I'm getting to my point. So I got on Facebook Marketplace, and all day long, and I would post things, different days, and all day long my phone would ding, 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 ding. And I met the most wonderful people. And that's what this is about. The first person I met was Summer, which I think is an ironic name living in Arizona. But there she was, and she came, and she had the most adorable son in her back seat. And she asked where I'm from, and I said, I live in Massachusetts now. She said, oh, I want to move there. I said, you do? Why? Come, I can't afford it. I said, why do you want to move to Massachusetts? She said, I'm gay. And being in Arizona doesn't feel so safe. Well, I knew that firsthand because one of my children is gay. And she was born and bred in Arizona. And she's had her tires slashed out there. And she was bullied. And she had strangers scream horrible things to her. It was not easy. She now lives in Massachusetts. So we talked about that. And it was hot, so off she went after we put chairs into her car. Who did I meet next? Oh, Claudia. Claudia is an immigrant from Mexico. She has 2 sons that were born and bred in Phoenix. And she walked in, and for some reason we hit it off, and I put up a pot of coffee. 3 hours later, she left. And she calls me now and then, and it's just the loveliest thing. And we talked, some in Spanish, some in English, about immigration and the education system in Arizona, because I taught there forever, and family life and what it's like to raise our children and try to get them out of the house. And she was trying to get her sons out and was purchasing things to help set them up. So she left, and the next day, oh, Mary, what a hoot. Mary was the first female pilot in Arizona, and a lesbian woman, and she was buying pots for her patio. She was redoing her patio. She's retired, and she wanted all kinds of things, and she, just a hoot, just a strong, brilliant, wonderful person. And we're friends on Facebook, and she sends me gorgeous photos of her cactus blooming. I could never get a cactus to bloom. Until one day she sent me a photo of her patio with a snake winding its way towards a little baby bunny in the corner, shivering. And I hit delete. I didn't want to know. And then Ismail was the next day. Ismail, what a lovely young guy. He's a recent immigrant from Uganda. And we got along. I had worked for about 4 or 5 years in Waltham with Ugandans, and I didn't know enough. And he came 3 or 4 times, and the second time he came with a friend, and we sat on the patio with iced tea and just talked. And I learned so much, and it's wonderful. Learning is terrific. And towards the end, I just said, just take this, Ismail. Just take. Get it out of here. And he was wonderful. And the last person was named Sky, but not our Sky. This Sky didn't have an E on the end. Do you remember when Christmas and Hanukkah converged last year? Remember? Christmas Day, that was the first night of Hanukkah. And I had my menorah in Arizona, and I had my candles set up, and sundown came, and I went to light my candles, and I couldn't. I didn't have a light in the house. I didn't have a match. I didn't have a lighter. And I remembered that my daughter had taken already, as I cleaned out the kitchen, the lighter for the gas grill. There was nothing. And I was shocked at how awful it felt and lonely that I couldn't light my candles. I was just surprised at how sad I was. And I talked myself into, all right, tomorrow when stores are open, you can go get a match and go get a lighter. And about, 8:30 or so, I had a ding on the phone, and it was a woman named Sky who was out in the parking lot, wanting to purchase things. And I'm thinking, it's Christmas. Okay, doesn't bother me. So out I go, and there she stood, And I said, the first thing I said to her, I blurted out, do you have a lighter or a match? And she looked at me like I was a nutcase, and she said, no, why? And maybe stupidly, because I have to remember what part of Arizona I was in, I said, I'm a Jew, and I can't light my candles, and it's Hanukkah. But okay, never mind, come on in. And she stopped me, and she said, do your children know that you're meeting strangers in a parking lot at night? I hadn't thought of that. I said, no, I don't think they care. Come on in. So she came in, and what a wonderful human being. And she told me she wants to move to Massachusetts. And unbeknownst to either of us, Summer was her sister. But we didn't know that. And she, too, is a gay woman and afraid to be in Arizona. And we just talked, and she told me about her coming out. And I told her about my daughter and her coming out to me. And we talked about that for a while, as a woman coming out to her parents and a parent having her child come out to her. And the differences that we experienced. And I'm sorry to say she didn't have a good experience. But she's a terrific human being. So she bought a few things. She was going to come back for the sofa and the bedroom furniture. And off she went into the night on Christmas Day, back to her family. I later met one of her children, her daughter, who had just finished high school. Charming, wonderful kid, bright. But you know what we do when people leave our homes? We kick off our shoes, we get a glass of water, we put the clicker in her hand. I shouldn't say this in public, but off come the undergarments. And we sit down, we watch TV, and at 10:30 that night, not knocking, but pounding on my door. Pounding. And an incessant ringing of the bell, and more pounding, and I was frightened. It's pitch black out at night, and not in a great part of Phoenix, and I was scared, and I went to the door. I said, who's there? Sky. Sky? I opened the door, and there she stood. Did you get a flat tire? Did your car break down? What's going on? And she was absolutely silent. And she held out her hand. And in her hand was a Bic lighter. Did you go home, Sky? No. I said, but it's Christmas. Walgreens down the street is closed. She said, I know, but I drove around till I found a place open. It's for your candles. I couldn't believe it. Here, this woman, we're now friends on Facebook. I mean, she's young, I'm old, she's gay, I'm straight, she's a Christian, I'm a Jew. On her holiday, with her kids at home, her wife at home, she went out of her way for this old Jew to be able to light her candles. She facilitated my Judaism. There are two words in the English language that, as a former English teacher, that I hate. One is accept. Oh God, I just forgot the other one. Tolerate. Tolerate. Why? Because they mean the antithesis of what they imply. They're counterintuitive. If you tolerate someone, you're really not accepting them. If you accept someone, you're really not. You have to go out of your way. And she didn't do that. She honored me. She respected me and my Judaism. And I looked this up because I didn't have a Jewish education growing up. And there's a thing called chesed, loving kindness, and kavod habriot, treating everyone with dignity. And that's what she did. I gave her a hug, and off she went into the night. And I went to light my candles. And I'm a little embarrassed, a little more than a little. I didn't cry, I sobbed. And I lit my candles, and I sang my songs, and I said my prayers, did a little dance. And I had that connection to everyone in my time zone who was also lighting their candles. And this stranger provided that for me. And then I thought of the people I had met on Facebook Marketplace, and it hadn't occurred to me before. They were all from marginalized populations. They had different skin colors, different countries of what's the word? Origin, thank you. I turned 76 this summer. Different countries of origin, different primary languages, different sexual orientations. It didn't matter. And I hadn't thought of it, which I was really excited about. But there was no barrier between us, not one. All of these people showed me chesed and practiced kavot habriot. And so that Christmas, that was Sky's message, and I hope a message for all of us. Shabbat shalom.